All right, folks, if you're visiting down here, curious about the Terrace Hills, those are the copper mines. It has nothing to do with us, not the dirt from this place. That mine was 8 miles away when this was built in 1962. You showed up when operational, building wouldn't have been here, none of this equipment would have been up here. You drove up, all you would have seen was that ham radio antenna out front, the fence, a couple telephone poles, and the big base structure. That's the silo closure door. That whole thing is just one single door. It weighs 760 tons. It's made of steel, filled with concrete, sits over the top, protects the missile from a nearby detonation. That door has to be able to rise up on railroad tracks and slide open in under 19 seconds, even if it's already been covered in debris. Telephone pole with the crow's nest is 50 feet tall. Double it, that's the height of the Titan II. Triple it, that's the depth of the silo. 9 megaton bomb sitting in the lobby. If that bomb was live and detonated 14,000 feet above the valley, it would destroy everything in this valley. From that mountain 10 miles away to the mountains on the other side of Tucson 30 miles away. And everything in between is gone, just wiped completely clean. Only thing left standing intact above ground, for as far as you can see, is going to be that door. We're going to head down now. Please watch your step. Need to get everybody off the stairs before we can begin because they're so loud, so keep up the best you can. Right this way.
Gotta go over there though. I wave my arms, I need to.
Right up against here, big guys. We got people to start with.
Yeah. Well, it's also one of these things where, 10 years ago, I would have planned it this year. Now,
All right, folks, 35 feet underground, level 2 of the complex. You guys are in the access portal. The walls are only a foot thick. It's never designed to withstand a detonation. It's all going to cave in on itself. It's your way in, it's your way out. This is where the hardened part of the structure begins. 4 feet of concrete in the floors. In the walls. Floors and ceilings are 5 feet thick. Top 30 feet of the silo is 8 feet thick of concrete just to hold the weight of that door. Entire complex is covered in a 1/4 inch of battleship grade steel. It acts as a Faraday cage. All of our doors are 1 foot thick steel I-beams, double welded together. They mill the surface of the doors, the frames. There's neoprene seals, so when these doors are closed, and these doors are always closed, it's virtually airtight in here. This is designed to protect you from a first strike, a near miss. Protect you from the radiation, blast wave, heat wave, electromagnetic pulse, which is a pulse of energy. It shoots out at the speed of light, destroying anything with electronics in it. No more video games, television, telephones, automobiles, electricity, period. The world is back in the dark ages if and when this ever happens. This will protect you from all of that, as long as the bomb the Soviets had aimed at us missed by more than a mile. They can land a ground burst within a mile of us, this entire complex will be instantly vaporized. Nothing can withstand the force of one of these bombs. Nothing man has created. I'll explain why as we go. Takes 4 phone calls to gain access. First call's from the gate. We're here. Let us in. They electronically open the gate, drive in, park the truck, get to that door we just walked through. Second phone call is on the outside of the door. We have to get from the call at the gate, make that second call at the door in under 3 minutes. We normally drove here. During monsoon season, they fly us out in the helicopter, but either way, we could have been attacked or infiltrated on the way. The Air Force didn't want us getting killed standing at that door trying to read a distress code. So all we needed to do if we were attacked, drag our feet. Just slow down, slow walk it. Takes more than 3 minutes to make the next call. Nobody's getting in. Help will be on the way. Under 3 minutes, they buzz that door open. Commander goes into that cage we just walked through. It's called the entrapment area. It's the only camera on the property. He can't come and go at that point unless they allow it. Commander locks himself in that cage by himself. He was given a top secret code on the base in Tucson. Makes his third phone call, reads off the code, lights it on fire, throws in that red coffee can mounted on the wall, then burns it so no one else can ever see it again. If it's the correct code, they'll buzz the cage open, he lets us in, come down here, make our fourth and final phone call, hit the button on the wall. Somebody on the commander's console has the same exact button. They have to hit it the same exact time. If they do, the force opens and locks this door down, will retract, and we can manually open up the door at that point. This is called a blast lock, sort of like an airlock you find on a submarine or a spacecraft. All the doors are electronically paired. Only one door can ever be open at a time. Each one of the blast doors weighs 6,000 pounds, 3 tons per door. Blast doors 6 and 7 protect us from that near miss. Blast door 8 and 9 inside protect us from our own missile. Either the launch of the missile or mishap with the missile. Come on in. Excuse me. Right this way, bro. There's a bench here if anybody would like to sit. We're going to be in here for about a half hour. Come on in, folks. All right, I need some help launching this thing. I need 2 volunteers. Anybody want to help me? Sit. Sit. We got everyone? There's room up here if you want to come up here. All right, folks, we're in the next 3-story building. This building is round on the top, flat on the bottom, designed to deflect an overhead blast. Top floor is the crew's quarters. You've been in the military, you know it's not the Hilton, it's a military. 2 bunk beds, kitchenette, bathroom, incredibly basic. Downstairs is the equipment bay. This floor is launch control, where we launch from, where we spend most of our time. The last thing we need to worry about is a shock wave. A nearby detonation is going to create this incredible earthquake. It's going to make the land above our heads look like waves on the ocean. We need to survive that. Everything critical to launching this missile, the people, the equipment, the missile itself, all on giant springs and shock absorbers. You'll see them everywhere, including all 3 floors of this building. Cross the bridge to get into this room. We're not attached to the walls. We're just hanging here by 8 of these massive springs around the room. So in case of that shock wave, the ground around us and the shell of the building itself can all bounce up and down 1.5 feet, foot side to side. We should just hang here, safe in our little cocoon. 4 crew members, 2 officers, 2 enlisted people. We're here for the next 24 hours. That's our shift. We call it an alert. Our job, decode secret messages, monitor and maintain the missile in the complex, troubleshoot any problems that arise, keep this place in a state of readiness. That missile has to be ready to fire every second of every day. First crew member is the Missile Combat Crew Commander. You're captain in the Air Force. You're responsible for all of us and all of this for the next 24 hours. You're the boss. In being the boss, you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. That order comes through to launch. It's up to the commander here to make sure we launch. You're the Deputy Missile Combat Crew Commander, 1st or 2nd Lieutenant. Communication Officer. 4 radios connected to 7 different antennas you'll see up top side. Redundancy. You're also our Safety Officer. Anytime anyone's out in that silo, you need to keep track of exactly where they're on this board in case there's an accident or we get the order to launch. We can't launch if anyone's out there. They won't survive. We got to get them back in here. Most important job, taking care of that clock. No wires going to it. It's not electric. Electric clocks are not reliable enough for our needs. It's an 8-day wind-up chronometer, finest of its kind. It's been running since 1963. Deputy on duty every Sunday morning winds it. Twice a day, every day. You need to synchronize that with the atomic clock that's in Boulder, Colorado. Your clock can never be more than 1 second off. This is your launch clock. Launch clock is set to Zulu time. Zulu time is the 0 meridian. We use it, our allies use it, space station uses it, avoids confusion during military operations. We don't need to worry if it's AM, PM, or daylight savings time because it's the same time for all our nuclear forces no matter where on Earth they are. And right now, not quite, but it's about 5:15 in the afternoon for everybody. When military terms, 1,715 hours, no confusion. Last two crew members are the enlisted people, the workers, the most technically trained people on the crew. First one is the MFT, Missile Facilities Technician. They take care of the facilities. They keep us alive, they keep that missile alive. We have 9 floors out there jam-packed with anything you think a liquid fuel rocket could need. Hydraulics, pneumatics, sewage, water, power, air conditioning, heating, electrical, and plumbing. This person takes care of all that stuff like a jack of all trades. Last crew member is the BMAT, the Ballistic Missile Analyst Technician, the computer expert, the electronic technician on the crew. The BMAT's the crew member with the most schooling, was considered the smartest person on the crew. I was responsible for all the launch equipment, the missile itself, the guidance system, and the warhead. My job is to make sure this rocket works. It sat out there in that silo for 20 years. Put your car in the garage for 20 years, go give it a shot, see how you make out. We can't try it, test it, or start it, because if we start up the engines, we started World War III. But from here, I can test everything but the engines. My main job on this crew would be doing a launch. If something went wrong, it's on my shoulders to run down that cableway, figure out what went wrong, fix it, make it launch, or die trying, whichever one's going to happen first. Some of our equipment, this runs the facilities. This is my launch equipment, breakers for everything below ground. This is called the MGAC, Missile Guidance Alignment Checkout Group. This is the interface with the guidance computer that sits on the missile. This thing tells the missile, 1, where it is, and 2, where it's going to go. In order to hit a target somewhere in China or Russia, that missile has to know where true north is at all times. This is what tells it. This is called the annunciator panel. You'll hear it in a couple of minutes. This is our security system. Told you, the only camera on the property is watching the phone in the cage. Make sure nobody has a gun to the commander's head. There are no cameras up topside. There's no security up there either. All we have is these things we call tipsies. You'll see them, the little silver poles with the half moons. It's Doppler radar. Sort of like what opens the door at the market these days, only instead of a beam of light, it was a radio beam. Across the radio beam, these alarms are going off. 8 of them guard the silo closure door, 2 of them guard our air supply. Across that beam, alarms are going off. Big gray thing back in the corner is called the blast valve. That valve is connected to our only air shaft. It's going to slam close, it's going to cut off our air, so nobody can kill us while we're down here. It'll also slam close during a launch or if it detects a nearby detonation to protect us from the radiation. We're not a submarine, we don't manufacture air. That valve closes, all we have left to breathe, whatever's left in here. Alarms go off, deputy gets on the horn, calls the base, they send out a roving 2-person team to see what's happening. No questions asked, use the deadly force, you don't want to get caught inside that fence. We're not going out there, we have no idea what's out there. We're not going to open the door and let the enemy in. They'll come, they're never more than 20 minutes away if we really need them. This panel is our fail-safe. Every nuclear weapon has some sort of a fail-safe. The Air Force put this in to stop an inadvertent launch, either accidental, a crew that went crazy, or a crew that had been infiltrated. It's called the butterfly control valve lock, just a combination lock. It's connected to this. This is the cutaway of a butterfly valve. It just butterflies open and lets the fuels flow. 4 of these on the first stage engine, 2 on the oxidizer lines, 2 on the propeller lines. To tell you the truth, one's on a hypergolic fuel. Hypergolic means ignites on contact. We don't need a fuse, a match, or a spark plug to light that rocket off. This valve gets a signal, the 4 of them swing open, the 2 fuels mix, there's an instant explosion, and we get liftoff. One of them has a locking mechanism connected to this. If this valve can't open, none of them can open. They can't open, we can't launch. You think you're going to go stop World War III all on your own someday? Why don't they try to manually make it open? This has an explosive housing. It'll explode, it'll melt clothes, rocket will never ever launch. After that, it's useless. The only way to ever get this valve to open is to put that combination in. The captain doesn't know it, you don't know it, do you? Deputy doesn't know it, and the base doesn't know it. Only Strategic Air Command knows it. You only ever see that combination if the Soviets launched a nuclear strike and we were ordered to retaliate. 17 million possible combinations, Captain. You gonna guess that? No, you're not. And if you try on the 6th wrong attempt, that'll melt down, never to work again. We're no longer in a state of readiness. You're no longer a captain in the Air Force. We didn't play with that thing. It has a seal. It's the only thing connected to the outside world. This place is unhackable. But if we touch a dial, the base knows about it. He's in trouble. Typical day at work, 7 in the morning. All the missile crews meet at this top secret bunker on the base. They give us a top secret briefing. They're going to talk to us about anything going on around the world they think a missile crew needs to know about. Troop movement, military buildup, political problems. The last 10 minutes of every meeting, they would show us movies they smuggled out of the Soviet Union of them launching and detonating their newest nuclear weapons. Kind of put us in the mood for work that day. Jump in our trucks, drive out to the silos, replace the crews who were there for 24 hours. They take our truck, they drive back, we seal ourselves in for 24. First thing we do, we check everything. We go through this place with a fine-tooth comb. It takes 4 hours to do it. 12 hours later, we get up and we do it again. Twice a day, every day, for the 20 years the silo was on alert, it was gone through head to toe looking for problems. That'll chew up 8 out of our 24-hour shift, gives us 16 to go. You're going to see signs painted on the walls, no loan zone, SAC 2-man policy. You ever hear of the buddy system? This is the buddy system for working with nuclear weapons. It's about safety, it's about trust. I'm watching you, lady. You're watching me. If you go back there, Captain, you go with them. Someone goes out that blast door, someone's in your hip pocket right next to you. This room is manned every second of every day for 20 years by at least one officer, one enlisted person, always 2 people in the control center. Can't have anybody sabotaging it, stealing and selling our top secret information, or worse, one of us goes nuts and wants to end the world and they're going to try to launch it. We can't have that. We watch each other. It's like a fishbowl down here. Only place we can ever be alone, up in that crew's quarters. We each had 4 hours. We could go take a nap, cook ourselves something to eat, or just get away from the stress, the tension, and the noise of this room for a little bit. It's age 3 in the morning. We've been down here for 20 hours or so. We're sealed in. There's no radio. There's no television. There's no news. When we lock the blast doors behind us, we've locked out all access to the world. Crew has no idea what's going on up there anymore. All we know is what the Air Force may tell us come through these 2 speakers connected to your radio. The top speakers connected to Strategic Air Command Headquarters, Omaha, Nebraska. Bottom speakers connected to the 15th Air Force Headquarters in Riverside, California. If the Soviets launched a nuclear strike and destroyed that base, we get the message from the other one. They destroy that one too, wipe out Washington, D.C., kill the president. We have a flying command post codenamed Looking Glass. We refer to it as the Doomsday Plane. Every second of every day, there are generals and admirals in the skies over America, safe from a nuclear attack. They could give us the orders to retaliate and the combinations we need to launch. They're always up there. They're up there right this second. Strategic Air Command. They're in charge of all our nuclear weapons. Doesn't matter what branch of the service. So when they send out a message, it goes out to all of us at the same time. The Titan IIs, the Minuteman missiles, all our bombers, all our nuclear submarines. Message may be for one of them, maybe for us. Could be a test. Could be a simulated launch. Could be the real deal. We don't know. They all sound the same. So until we get that message, write it down and then decode it. We're not sure what's going on, but the crews are trained to believe. You hear this alarm you're about to hear, it means it could be World War III. You better bank on it, drop what you're doing, get to the control center, decode that message, and figure out what's going on. First thought goes through a 19-year-old crew member's mind when that thing goes off. Oh no, this is it. Every time that alarm goes off, you jump right out of your skin. Your first thought is, this is it. Everybody I know and love is about to die, and I'm about to die. But I won't kid you, it can be boring down here too. There's 4 of us down here for 24 hours staring at each other, just sitting here waiting for an order to come through to tell us to end the world. But the boredom is punctuated by moments of sheer terror every time this thing goes off. That's the preamble to an emergency action message. All the radios are going off. Captain has a top secret emergency action message book, so does our deputy. Crack it open, there's a couple forms in here. They each have a grease pencil. They're going to read off a 41-character message. You both copy it down in your books. Then you exchange your books. They repeat the message. You copy it down again. Then you put your two books together and you make sure you copy down the same exact thing. When it comes to nuclear weapons in America, two people have to agree to do anything. Not even the president, thank God, we're not making some crazy decision on his own. People need to agree with him. It's part of America's checks and balances. We're going to decode this. Unfortunately for us today, I guarantee this is the message that no crew member ever wanted to receive. This is the real deal. We've been ordered to launch. There's only two places we could get a launch order from. One is the president, and if he's already dead, then the doomsday plane. Have to make sure it came from one of those two sources. We need to authenticate this message. This now allows us to go into that red safe. That's our emergency war order safe or our go-to-war safe. One of the most top-secret documents in America was held in that safe. It's called the PSYOP, our nuclear battle plan. The battle plan for every nuclear weapon America possessed and what to do with them was held in that safe. That book is incredibly top secret. It was the most top secret thing about this place. It's still top secret to this day. We guarded that book with our lives. Pulling that book out. Going to take out 24 of these authenticator cards that were kept in there. Choose the one that corresponds with the first two characters of that message. Say it's this one, Delta Foxtrot. These are made out of hard plastic. We called it the cookie. Crack open the cookie. Pull out the authenticator card. You ever hear of the nuclear football? Officer follows on the president everywhere he goes, 24/7, with the briefcase handcuffed to him with the launch codes in it. This is what's in that briefcase. These are the launch codes. You're going to line this up with both your books. You're going to make sure it lines up exactly. If it does, if you agree, it's authenticated, came from the president, we've been ordered to launch. The message itself is going to tell us what page in that PSYOP's book to go to. What battle are we fighting? There's all different scenarios in that book based on what they think the Soviets have already launched at us. We're going to that plan. It's going to tell you what time to launch. Take your grease pencil, write the time in big numbers across the face of your clock so we don't make a mistake. This is synchronized to the second. There are 54 Type-2s about to fly over the North Pole. There are 1,000 Minuteman missiles going over the North Pole. All our nuclear submarines are firing off hundreds of their missiles, and all our nuclear bombers are getting airborne and they're flying over the North Pole. It all can't go at the same time. Has to go exactly when it has to go. That's why your clock has to be so accurate. Captain, the message is going to tell you which of our 3 pre-programmed targets we're aiming at. You punch it in there, and it's going to give you the combination to the butterfly valve for the first time ever. You read it off to me. I'll enter the combination here, break the seal, flip this up, hit that switch. I get a green light, they gave me a good code, the butterfly valves are unlocked, we're about to launch. Now we know a couple other things at this point. We know if we've been ordered to launch by the president, we have completely, utterly, miserably failed at our job. Our goal was peace. Our mission, peace through deterrence, we've blown it. There's no more deterrence, there's no more peace. We're already at war. Soviets have already launched. There's going to be nuclear warheads raining down on American cities within minutes. Folks, it only takes 30 minutes for a nuclear missile to reach America from Russia. That's it. Any moment of any day. Right at this very moment, there are 1,600 active nuclear missiles, never more than 30 minutes away from destroying each and every one of us. In that 30-minute flight, NORAD, North American Air Defense, has to spot those launches on their radar. Take the time to verify they're actual missiles, and not a glitch or mistake which happens. Then you got to get the President, Joint Chief of Staff, Head of Security Council up in the sky where they're safe, and they need to figure out what's going on. What have the Soviets done? What have they launched at us? What are we going to do? How do we retaliate? What battle are we fighting? Break open the football. Send out the codes to Strategic Air Command, the Doomsday Plane, the 15th Air Force, and they need to broadcast out over all the radios the launch codes to the Titan-2s, the Minutemen, the bombers, and the nuclear subs. That's going to take them 20 to 25 minutes to figure all that stuff out, at least, before we even get the first message, which gives us a 5-minute warning. It gives us 5 minutes to launch. It gives us 5 minutes left to live. We're the first target. The Russians don't want that thing going back, wiping out an entire city. They're trying to catch us napping. They're trying to catch these things still in the silo. We're not going to let that happen. We're launching. You ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. All right, folks. Where do we launch missiles in America with big red buttons? Television, Hollywood. Every movie you ever see, somebody's hitting a big red button. No idea how they came up with that. Big red buttons just tell us the doors are open. That's all. In the real world, we use keys. There's a set of keys in that safe. Captain's key goes here. Deputy, your key goes there. The keys are angled. They're 7.5 feet apart, so one person cannot reach both. Spring loaded to the off position, just like the ignition in your car. You can't turn one and go turn the other. They have to go exactly at the same time. You ready now?
Ready.
Put your left hand on the keys. Don't turn them yet. Captain, you're the boss down there. You're going to give your deputy a countdown. 3, 2, 1, launch. On launch, turn them clockwise. Hold them till I tell you let them go. Go ahead.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, launch.
And hold them. It takes 5 seconds. All right, you can let go. You did your job. You did what the Air Force paid you to do. You just joined World War III. If the president calls now and says, stop it, we made a huge mistake, too bad. There's no oops button. There's no self-destruct. There's no possible way to stop it at this point. The keys have been turned. This thing is going to launch. This is the launch sequence. First light is launch enabled. Launch enabled means everything's been checked, everything's a go. Second light, batteries activated. 2 batteries sitting on that missile being force-fed electrolyte for the first time. Takes 28 seconds to fill them up. Once they're full, you're going to get ABS power light. That means the batteries are charged. The missile's on its own. Silo soft. The door just lifted up. It slid open and went through the tipsy. Set off the alarm. The silo's wide open now. The next light is guidance go. Guidance computer is talking to McGack for the last time. It's getting its coordinates. Where's it going? How does it get there? What does it do when it reaches that point? Fire engines, the butterfly valve just opened up, the 2 fuels mixed, that thing is lit up out there, all the fire alarms are going off. When the missile gets to 77% of its full thrust, the 4 explosive bolts that hold it down explode, and the Titan II starts lumbering up out of that silo. 2 seconds later, liftoff, it's gone, it's on its way. 58 seconds, folks, that's all this takes is 58 seconds. Less than a minute to end the world. And this is what made it so frightening to the Russians. The previous missile, Titan I, they get a message, they'd have to run out there, fill it up with fuel, raise it out of the ground with an elevator and try to launch it. That would take them 30 minutes. They only had 5. They're all vulnerable. They're all targeted. They weren't afraid of them. With the hyperbolic fuel on the Titan II, that thing can sit out there fueled up indefinitely, ready to go at a moment's notice. So it only takes us 3 minutes from the time you get the message till it's on its way, which gives us 2 minutes to say our prayers down here because we know one's incoming. Whether they can hit us or not, we have no idea. But they only have to miss by less than a mile to take us out. First thing, Captain has some buttons. He's going to put out all the fires in the silo. You need to call the base, tell them we had a successful launch. MFT is going to close the silo, close your door, try to buy you some added protection. I'm going to kill the power, everything below ground but this room, save some energy. Going to wait it out, see what our fate is. 3 possibilities. They miss us by 100 miles or so. We're going to sit down here for 20 to 25 days to let the radiation dissipate. And then we're going to try to climb out. Into what? Whatever's left. We have no idea. There's nothing down here that tells us what happened out there. They land run within a mile, we're instantly vaporized, the end of our problems. Or they miss us by 10, 20, 30 miles away, we're covered by so much debris that we can't get out. We're trapped. We're entombed down here forever. We have 30 days of food and water stored in cans down below. At the most, we have 25 days of air left because the blast valve closed. We only have enough diesel fuel to have light for 2 more hours, and then there's 4 of us sitting down here in the dark with 2 pistols and 6 bullets each, if we each decide to go out that way, which is a personal decision every crew member has to make for themselves, instead of suffocating to death in the dark. But we signed up for this, right, Captain? No better for anybody up there. All we know is what's going on with that missile. It's headed towards Target 2. Target 2 is the default target, always aimed at Target 2. Target 2 was top secret in 1963. It remains top secret to this day because chances are we still have something aimed at Target 2. You know it's a Target 2? Neither did the crews. We had one of the highest top secret security clearances you could obtain from the government to be able to do this job. We didn't have the need to know. If we actually launch this thing right now, say in Moscow, 30 minutes from now, it's going to kill 12 million people instantly. 12 million with just a turn of a key. They didn't want to put that on the crews. They didn't want to make it any harder than it had to be turning those keys, knowing who the people were about to be. It made a difference. Can't speak for every crew, but my crew, we never talked about it. We didn't want to know. All we know, what happens when we get there. Titan's going to go 800 miles into space over the North Pole, 4 times higher than the space station flies. Hits its apogee, or its highest point, the bomb starts arming itself. It's traveling at 17,000 miles per hour, travels up to 6,500 miles away, and it's going to land on Target 2. Target 2 is set for a ground burst, the original bunker buster. We're digging something out of the ground. Missile silo, command center, maybe a bunker under the Kremlin. The bomb detonates right when it hits the ground, instantaneously blowing a crater in the earth, 3/4 of a mile wide, 450 feet deep, vaporizing whatever is there. It looks like it got hit by an asteroid. That's what the hole looks like. Now, depending on what the Soviets have done, if they launch a full-scale nuclear attack like everything, we're shooting everything right back at them. We're not shooting at their silos now. We're shooting at their cities now. We're going to take the 54 Titan IIs with the 9 million tons of TNT on board. We're going to completely wipe off the face of the earth 54 of the Russians' largest cities and every living creature in them. Retaliation, the doomsday scenario. This is the end of the world now, Captain. You're going to be ordered to switch from Target 2 to 103. Targets 1 and 3 are set for an air burst. An air burst is much worse than a ground burst. An air burst is what we use to wipe out entire cities. Now the bomb detonates 14,000 feet above the ground. In 1/1,000,000th of a second, it's going to create a 3-mile wide fireball. That fireball is 10 million degrees. It's brighter than 100 suns. And then at 10 times the speed of sound. Shock wave, blast wave, and the heat wave fire out. Just the wind. 7,000 mile per hour blast of wind. That is going to completely destroy 900 square miles of Earth. 900. The bombs we dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki destroyed 5. This is 900. 900 square miles of Earth is a city 30 miles across. That's my city, that's your city, that's any city. Beijing, Moscow, Washington, it's instantly gone. Every major city around the world is instantly gone. Whoever lived in them, they're gone. And then for miles and miles beyond that, fires raging, homes are burning, people are igniting. This is a devastating weapon. Earth has never seen anything like that thing before. It's what we thought we needed to keep the Soviet Union at bay, to keep them from starting World War III, to keep the peace. Good news, obviously, never got a message or turned a key. Simplest plan you could possibly imagine, keeps you all safe and alive, called MAD, Mutually Assured Destruction. Told you there's 1,600 warheads aimed at us right now, just from Russia. We have 1,600 aimed at them. There's no way anyone can win a nuclear war. Everybody knows it. So all MAD says, as long as everybody knows they can't win, hopefully, no one will ever be crazy enough to try. That's the plan. That's what keeps us alive. That's it. And it's worked perfectly. But it depends on no one out there being crazy enough to try. We honestly can't say that right now. For 24 years, Titan II is America's biggest, baddest deterrent. All the men and the women that served down here did our jobs, accomplished our mission of peace, peace through deterrence. We have men and women right this second, underground in our Minutemen silos, under the ocean in their nuclear submarines, and ready to hop in their nuclear bombers at a moment's notice, keeping America's deterrent force, keeping America safe, keeping America at peace. That's for you. That's for you. Can you guys read what it says out loud in red?
I turned the launch key.
Yeah, you did. Which puts you on the hook for that thing, you know. The crews we sent out to Vandenberg Air Force Base to test launch out of their silos reported back to the rest of us. They couldn't hear it or feel it take off. That's how isolated this room is from that rocket down the hallway. So we got to go make sure it's still down there. All right, folks, we're going to head down the long cableway. Watch your heads. Get to the end, you're going to see a missile. You can't miss it. When you do get to the end, go as far left as you can. That's where the best windows are. We need to vacate this room because they got another tour coming through. Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Don. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
I can't imagine what it must have been like to have been in your shoes back then, but
Boring, scary, always under a microscope. Every day they beat us through your head. Today's the end of the world.
I was feeling it. You really painted the picture like we were still there. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, thank you.
it's really an eye-opener sitting in that chair.
Yeah,
Was that the actual chair?
that's it. Everything here is original 1963.
Oh, man.
Yeah, not for the floor though, just for the cableway, so we can take that first strike. That's your idea.
How many years did you do this?
Just 4. Not too many people did more than 4.
Understandable.
Yeah.
reunions of the folks who are actually down here every once in a while?
They have a reunion every year.
Oh,
I've
okay.
never been to one, but
Oh, okay.
we had one last year down here. All right, folks, you're looking at the second stage of the Titan II. Up above the black part is the re-entry vehicle, just like the one in the gift shop. That's where the warhead sits. That's the only part of this rocket that reaches its target. The rest is just to get it going. 103 feet tall, 10 feet in diameter, weighs 330,000 pounds loaded with fuel. First stage engine had 430,000 pounds of thrust, which is equivalent to two 747s at full throttle. You've been to an airport, you know how loud that would be. In this tube, it's going to create so much sound, it's going to break that missile apart. So we had to learn how to fly out of a silo. All the gray panels on there in the walls are attenuated panels full of spun fiberglass, sort of like what's in the muffler of your car. We also have a 100,000-gallon tank of water attached to it. Keys to turn, dumps all the water out of the engine. Water mixes with the exhaust, it turns to steam. Energy it takes to create steam absorbs sound. Titan II is the first rocket to be launched out of a silo. Anytime you see a rocket launch, 90% of what you're looking at is just steam from the sound suppression system. 54 went in the silos. Then they built another 51. Exchange an older one for a newer one. Take the old one and the crew, send it out to Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, where we had 3 test silos. The 54 operational silos were one and done. One missile, one turn of the key, one end of the world. Nobody up there to bring another missile. Besides, the silo would be completely destroyed when this thing lifts off. So we had 3 special silos in Vandenberg. We would fire them at the Marshall Islands without a warhead. 4,500 miles from Vandenberg, there's a little lagoon called Kwajalein. That lagoon's only about 3/4 of a mile wide. It's basically a speck in the middle of the ocean on the other side of the world. We'd fire at it. Tell the Soviets we're doing it. They'd be up there in their fishing trawlers watching. We wanted them to. We wanted them to see America has a missile. It works. Unlike them, we're going to hit what we're aiming at and we're not afraid to use it. Of the 51 we launched, 87% of them landed in the lagoon in direct hit. There were 2 failures and a couple near misses. 87% accuracy in the 60s with this was incredible. We could do it, Soviets, not a chance. Their missiles were great. Their engines were incredible, but their guidance system was awful. They didn't know where the warhead was going to end up. Russian electronics, folks, I guarantee you're not walking along with a Russian laptop, right? So they did the only other thing they could do. They put the biggest nuclear weapon they could possibly lift off the ground. Titan II was America's biggest missile with the biggest bomb we've ever created. 9 million tons. The Soviets, 20 million ton bombs, 20 megatons. That bomb's blowing a hole at least a mile wide, 500 feet deep, vaporizing everything. We're only 35 feet underground. We're not surviving that. That's why when they said anything within a mile, it's a big, giant, gaping hole in the earth where we used to exist. NASA purchased 12 of these for themselves, renamed it, called it Gemini. Titan II is the launch vehicle for the Gemini manned space program. You all heard of Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon. Neil's first ride into space was on a Titan II exactly like this one called Gemini 8. We call ours a missile because there's a bomb on the top. Stick a couple people up there, it's a rocket, like any other rocket. Up until Apollo, Saturn 1, Saturn 5, Titan was America's biggest rocket. Built to last just 7 years. Got 24 years out of it as a deterrent, and the ones who were able to be saved, refurbished, added boosters to, and launched satellites. We sent an unmanned mission to the moon on this rocket. The 2 Viking missions to Mars, the 2 Voyager missions to Jupiter, and the Cassini mission to Saturn all went up on a Titan. Last launch of Titan was October of 2003. We got 40 years out of this rocket at a cost of $2.5 million, which is unheard of because honestly, when does America get its money's worth when they buy this stuff? They don't, but they did with this. We were so afraid of the Soviets and what we thought they had. This is the only project to come in under time, under budget. 5,000 people working here, 5,000 in Little Rock, 5,000 in Wichita, all at the same time, trying to get these things put in the ground. It took 29 months to build this silo at a cost of $10 million. It only took the Air Force 36 months to build all 54 silos, have a working, reliable rocket, and get everybody in this program trained, manned, and operational. 36 months. Try doing that today. Now, you can't tell how big it is by standing next to it. There's a big dome up there. We're going to finish the tour up top side. Go up there, you'll be able to look down upon it, see all 103 feet of the Titan. And we're going to talk about the engines and all the antennas when we get up there. So this is where I'm going to ask everybody to please keep up so people aren't standing up there in the sun waiting for us. So right this way, folks. That's what a 9 megaton bomb would do. Immediate rating. All right, folks, we have 7 antennas up here. First one you saw in the parking lot, the big Christmas tree, ham radio antenna. 2 purposes. 1 to set the launch clock. 2, at the end of this war, to see if there are any survivors left on Earth. But that wasn't going to survive. So the backup is that great pole out in the corner, sits in its own silo. Raise that up when we thought the missile stopped flying. Main antenna, white pole on the oil derrick. That's not surviving. So the white pole in front is its backup. That sits in its own 70-foot deep hardened silo with 10-foot thick concrete walls. Has a second antenna just like it. Over here in this corner, still in the ground with a lid on it. The round antenna that looks like an egg beater, that's called Slivic. Super low frequency, highly survivable antenna. Buried 12 feet under the ground. So it has to get its signals through the ground instead of the air, which takes a lot longer. But you're definitely going to get that signal. There's an antenna in Michigan, miles and miles long, buried deep into the ground. Sends out a low frequency waves to the crust of the earth. That's how we can hear through the ground, or somebody can hear through the ocean. The little nose cone over there, ultra high frequency antenna, semi-survivable. That's what talks to Looking Glass, the doomsday plane. The air conditioner is being guided by the poles with the scoops. Those are the tipsies, Doppler radar, just bouncing a radar beam back and forth. Cross it, we got an alarm. The air conditioner wasn't here back then. That was put in for your comfort. That's just a 50-foot air shaft with an open grate. That's all the breathable air we had down there, so we had it protected. It's also our escape hatch. But you're not going to find a missile there, living or dead, to tell you they thought they could climb out of that thing. It had a grate on the top. It opened up. You're covered in debris. No way to get out. Now, in order to become a museum, we had to make a deal with the Soviets. They also have a museum. Their museum is in the Ukraine. Back during the Cold War, that's where half their silos were. Comparable silo, comparable missile. America nicknamed it Satan 1 because that 20 megaton bomb they put on it. They didn't put theirs back in the silo, though. They just laid it on the ground. That's why this is the only place you can see one, so we jumped through some extra hoops. We propped the door open halfway. We put those concrete blocks on the tracks it rides on because the Russians used to come every year and inspect it to make sure it can't open any further. Where the pyramid is, we built a big glass dome over the open half, and we were forced to cut a hole in our re-entry vehicle because part of the SALT treaty says when Russian satellites fly overhead every day, they have to be able to look down from space through that dome into the side of the re-entry vehicle and make sure we haven't put a warhead back in it, made it operational. They don't count it against our nuclear arsenal, and they check periodically. So you get over there, it's going to be sunny, put your hands on the glass, your camera on the glass, you're all under 3 feet. See how big it is, you're going to wonder how big the engines were. They're over there, signs telling you what they burned, how long they burned for, how far each stage will get us along the way. So you're welcome to go anywhere inside the fence you like. You can spend as much time out here as you like. When you're through, go through the last door on the left. That'll take you back in the gift shop. Today's our first day of doing half-hour tours, so I got to run in there and man that desk. So if you have any questions about anything I've said or you've seen, just grab me inside. Obviously, I enjoy talking about it. I want to thank my commander, my deputy, any veterans for their service, everybody else coming out spending your Friday morning with me. Hope you folks enjoyed the tour, and I'll see you back inside. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, everyone.